Okay, that was fun. Thanks for your patience. This is my first time coming here, and I want to thank Dr. Moffitt for sure, but everybody from the leadership that I've met has been very has shown great hospitality, and I want to thank you all for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Minnesota model and some of the things that Minnesota has done to create a very fertile area of clinical practice and kind of how we've done it. Here's your objectives. I want you to pay very close attention to the bonus objective at the end. Understand 3 reasons why I'm very happy to be here. One of them is I said I've never been here before. I've always wanted to visit Egypt and Cairo, and I haven't been let down so far. It's been very beautiful with wonderful people. And number 2 is being that I've known Dr. Isam for many years. He's a very nice, good friend of mine. He had to leave because he knew my slides were going to be better looking than his, so he's a little ashamed about that. Anyway, I figured as nice as he was, that there must be a lot of nice people over here, and I haven't been let down with that either. The 3rd reason why I'm very happy to be here is Dr. Isam kind of stole my thunder on that as well, is because this is me a few days ago. How many people know what that thing is over my shoulder? It's a snowblower. So we had 16 to 18 inches of snow within a few hours, and my truck is not going anywhere. So I'm very happy to be here right now, so I'm not dealing with that. So I want to talk a little bit I'm going to buzz through this pretty quickly. I could spend probably a couple days talking about all the aspects I bring up here, so I'm going to focus it down a little bit. But we're the only pharmacy school in Minnesota, which is very unique in the United States because it was brought up previously. There's over 140 colleges of pharmacy in the United States. We have just one in Minnesota, which really creates a lot of opportunity, and I'll get into that a little bit. We do have 2 campuses, Minneapolis as well as Duluth. And the Duluth, we're celebrating our 125th anniversary this year for the main College of Pharmacy. And the Duluth campus is going to be celebrating their 50th. So we opened that up 15 years ago. It's a land-grant university, which means that the charge of the university is to do things which benefit the people that live in Minnesota. So it's not to make a profit as much as it is some of the other things. It's about helping the people of Minnesota. We have a 6-year farm degree, 160 students per year. We also have 120 PhD students across 5 different departments. And we also have one of the challenges that was brought up earlier is about how to get interprofessional practice. All 3 of the individuals in our team that are from universities, we all have academic health centers. So that might be a challenge for you, but there's ways around that. And I'm sure that you can come up with some way of dealing with that. So the components of what has worked well for us in Minnesota are these. So you've got leadership and administration, that's both at the college as well as the professional organizations, and then the professional external organizations. I could spend a lot of time on just those 2 topics, so I'm not going to really cover them very much. I'm going to focus on the bottom 4. Just with the extent that the top 2 are, if you want to think of them as kind of the brain, they're taking the information in, they're kind of putting it all together and coming up with the best way to spit it out or to communicate it. We all know it's a lot more than that, but and the idea is getting all of these different components nicely braided. So faculty types, you've got research faculty, which are kind of the primary faculty at the college. They're doing research, they're teaching, they kind of stay in the college itself. There's a picture of one of them on the right there. Don't all research faculty look like that? Probably not all, but some of them do. We have shared faculty. Shared faculty was brought up earlier, is we've got a number of faculty that they are half the time at the College of Pharmacy. The other half, they work for a health system. They may work for another practice. They may work at another college. But we share the responsibilities and the opportunities we have to work with them. We have adjunct faculty, which are people that are kind of experts in one field or another. They may have their own practice, and we bring them in for specific classes and such. Preceptors and mentors. We'll get into those a little bit later. The shared faculty, again, we're sharing them. We have a number of them that are between health systems and the College of Pharmacy. And kind of what they do is they bring science to the clinic. So they do research, they do teaching, and they're taking that and bringing it to the clinic, where they're putting it into practice. And then what they're doing is they're taking what they learned from that practice, bringing it back to the college to reuse and to teach the students. We have 21 shared faculty at 19 organizations and 17 BPS certifications. Brian, I know you're proud of us, aren't you? Health systems that they partner with, Community Memorial Health Partners, Park Nicollet, large health systems in the area. We've got some clinics, and then different specialties. We've got a neurology shared faculty. We have a nurse practitioner run clinic where we've got a faculty at, and a variety of other areas that they, including a dental clinic. A little rundown on the adjunct faculty. Again, they're experts in the field. They just teach one or more sessions. They're kind of volunteers. They come in and teach on a specific topic. There's the breakdown of the preceptors. Now, I put this up here not to show you how many hours the students have to put in, but I want you to think about the preceptors are largely volunteering their time. They're spending lots of hours with their students. And so we've got 511 preceptors that could be sponsoring a student at any given time. And if you total up on an annual basis, it's 211,000 hours per year, which is a lot of volunteer time. Excuse me for a minute. So we have external faculty as well, which we have a mentoring program. So each of our first year pharmacy students, we match up for a 10-hour experience with mentors that, again, who have just volunteered their time. Many of them are preceptors that want to do more to promote the profession and to help out the college. But they get immersed for just a 10-hour period. It's not to learn about practice as much as it is to learn about how the pharmacists balance their life. What do they do? They go to work for part of the time, they go to practice. What are they doing the rest of the time? How do they balance their time? How do they handle professional development? And you can see again here, there's a lot more hours that are provided there. One of the things I want to point out about these external faculty and the preceptors is the huge engagement by the people who are not paid by the College of Pharmacy. Why are they doing this? Well, they're doing it because they want to promote their profession. There's pride. They know that if they don't do anything to affect the trajectory of how the profession is going, somebody else is going to do it, or it's not going to happen at all. So they take an active role. And we've got a very, very active group of alumni and non-alumni practitioners in Minnesota. This is a map of Minnesota and Wisconsin. It's got all the different sites where we send students to do rotations. You can see we've got most of the state covered. There's a few places we're still working on, but we largely cover the whole state. So one of the things I think is probably among the most important, if not the most important, are the student ambassadors. And that's just anybody who's a student. We've got the experiential rotations which Dr. Esau pointed out. They do a full year, but they actually do a lot more than that. They do a full year, plus they do 2-3 week rotations, as well as some other activities. But what we try to do there's like this two-way stream of education, which is very important. And what we try to do is not only just send our students out to experience how they should practice, but we're spending all this time telling them all the important stuff that they need to know to be successful practitioners. So why not share that with some of the preceptors that haven't been in school for a while? So we encourage them to share their knowledge with the preceptors. One example might be we suggest, and we actually made it an assignment this past year, where they go into their practice with fresh eyes. They spend a few days looking around, seeing how it works, participating in the flow, and then at the end of the experience, they make one suggestion to their preceptor on how they could improve their practice to either directly or indirectly improve patient outcomes. Could be as little as relocating a phone or a counseling area, but we also let the preceptors know so they're not getting concerned about this young person telling them how to run their business. So that's been very well accepted, and I think it's a good way of sharing those educational opportunities. Residency, we have the largest ambulatory care residency program, at least the last I checked, in the United States. It provides an opportunity for bridging innovation between academia and practice. And it was brought up a little bit, and I think we're going to hear more about that. But it's really an opportunity for individuals that want to start up a new practice, where we've had a number of individuals that have contacted clinics that don't currently have pharmacists working there and say, I'd like to perhaps start a residency program with your practice team. And the benefit is for them, they get this pharmacist, they get to try out this opportunity, but they're usually paying about half the amount that they would a full pharmacist. Plus they're getting a student that's hungry to learn and hungry to change practice. So some of the things our residents have done, Project Echo, which is a weekly e-learning webinar. They actually put one together each week to help other clinics and other health systems learn about what's going on with opioid addiction. I'm not sure about out here, but in the United States we have a huge opioid addiction problem, where I believe it's a leading cause of non-accidental death. And what they've done is they're educating some of these community centers on how to best combat this. Over 90 MTM CMRs on 3 different electronic platforms, and smoking cessation, a collaborative practice agreement, and an A1C program that if a patient has an A1C over 9%, the physician forwards that information to this pharmacy, and the resident then takes them up and does a special program to check and make sure they're getting the proper treatment based on the criteria. Now, that sounds pretty awesome as it is, but all of these projects were done by one resident in the past 6 months. So you can see it really opens up an opportunity to do some innovation. And again, the most important thing, or certainly you need to have, is the consumers. Now, the consumers, not necessarily as you're going to the store to buy something, but who are the people that are going to be using the service, and who are the people who are going to be paying for it. Sometimes it's the same individuals, sometimes it's not. But in order to have a sustaining program of any kind in healthcare, you need to have consumers, and part of it is you need to sell that value to them so that they understand the value and that they're willing to pay for it. The patients need to accept it as well, because you can come up with the best clinical pharmacy services ever known to the world, but if patients aren't going to use them, it's not going to get you very far. So you need to promote yourself. I was happy to hear that it sounds like one of the units at this university right now is communications. I would almost recommend that if you can do an elective to take a communication class, because one of the things that you need to do is communicate on how good pharmacy is or what you're trying to sell. And it's so important to communicate that message. In the States, one of the problems that we've had over the years is we've slapped each other on the back and told each other how great pharmacy is. You know, well, pharmacy does all this, a return on investment is huge for the amount of money they spend on clinical programs. We get between $4 and $16 back. But it doesn't do any good for us to slap each other on the back. We need to get that message out to the people outside of the profession. And then, of course, the healthcare providers, the community organizations. The reason I have community organizations on there is you may have a senior community that may want to make use of your services. Maybe they want you to come in and do an immunization clinic where you're doing 200 or 300 immunizations in a single day, which could lead to other services, because obviously in a senior high-rise, for instance, or a senior community, they may need a lot more services, so it's an opportunity to get in there and show them how great you are. And then, of course, the patient. We have to include the patient not only as a consumer, but as part of the healthcare team. So as you think about getting together with physicians, nurses, dentists, to have the patient have the best outcomes, don't forget to make that patient part of that team, because they need to participate, and you need to know what's important to them in order to get the best outcomes. And I'm missing the slide on this, but anyway, that's